Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. My name's Marissa, and today I'm going to be doing the first half of my October wrap-up. So I'm just going to preface this by saying I'm kind of sick, so my voice is a little scraggly and my face is a little red, so please just ignore that. Not feeling great today, but I'm surviving. It's all good. It's not COVID, thank God. just a little sinus infection, so fun. But the show must go on with filming videos. So I DNF'd more books in this month than I think I have DNF'd in a very long time, which is okay. I kind of knew I was going to with these books, and I know I talked some in my last video about DNFing books and how I just need to stop buying these books that I know absolutely nothing about and expecting to like them. So that's kind of what I ran into this month. So the first one that I ended up DNFing was The Clockmakers Daughter, which I'll put a picture up here because I already got rid of it, which I kind of told you guys that I pretty much knew I was going to. It was just really boring. I did not understand what was going on in the first 100 pages. It was bouncing back and forth between two different timelines, and I didn't really understand or care for how the characters were meshing together, so I just really didn't feel like reading on, so I just DNF'd it. So the next one that I ended up DNFing was Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, because it reads just like Pride and Prejudice. It's like the author went through and just replaced some lines with things that were zombie killer-esque. The rest of it read exactly like Pride and Prejudice, which I kind of knew that going into it, but I really didn't expect it to be like that. Like, I could have done that in my own head while reading Pride and Prejudice, so it just wasn't capturing my attention, and I just didn't feel like devoting my time to reading it. And then the next thing I ended up DNFing was my entire Jane Austen collection. I did end up reading 3 out of the 7 books, I do believe, so I ended up DNFing like the last 4 just because I just didn't feel like reading it anymore. So that was pretty much that. So the first thing that I actually did finish reading was The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and that ended up picking up on ebook. I know I talked about this a lot, and I told you guys that I DNF'd it, and I did. But then, I don't know, there was one day I was laying in bed and I really didn't have anything else to read on my ebook. I think I was waiting for a book that I wanted to come out, and I read the synopsis and I ended up deciding that it sounded good at the time. So I think it was on like page 176, and I had to back it up to the very beginning because I didn't remember anything that was going on. So I started reading it and kind of took a fresh look at it, and I really, really loved it. I think this book is so character driven. It centers on Kvothe, which he's kind of like this mythical hero to people, but he's in hiding, so he's kind of pretending to be this like innkeeper guy at this point, but he has all these fantastical stories floating around about him that nobody knows, like which are real and which are made up. So this guy called the Chronicler ends up coming to town, and he recognizes Kvothe for who he is, and he ends up convincing Kvothe to tell him his whole story once and for all, so the Chronicler can write it down and give people the real story about Kvothe. And so there's supposed to be 3 books because he gives the Chronicler 3 days to get the story out. So of course the first book is the first day, and oh my god, there is so much heartbreak in this kid, like, because obviously the first book is like when he's young and he loses his parents, and it's just him surviving on the streets and like learning to adapt and be street smart, and it is so heartbreaking. But this kid is kind of a badass. Like, to survive what he survived is incredible, and you kind of get glimpses into like why his personality is the way he is, because you do of course see, like, you feel like you're in the story when he's telling it about the past, but then you also come back to the present and little things are happening that kind of either, you know, coincide with the story a little bit, or just move the plot of the book along, kind of tell you that there's something going on now. There's something magical going on now. So it's really, really interesting, and I'm really glad that I didn't DNF that book forever. So the next 2 books that I ended up picking up were in the Red Rising series, so Red Rising and Golden Sun. Ended up listening to both of them on audiobook. Those are both by Pierce Brown. And at first I really wasn't getting into Red Rising because I thought, oh god, this is going to be like a war book. And it's told from a male protagonist point of view, and I'm really not a big fan of that usually. But I actually really ended up liking this. I think I'm listening to the third book right now on audiobook, and it's still really, really good. It has some really in-depth friendships in there that I love, that these people would kill for each other. You know, it's got love and betrayal and, you know, found family, and it's an amazing story. So basically the whole premise of this is it's like a sci-fi fantasy set in the future. And so all of the planets in our solar system are populated. And so the first book is about this guy who is the lowest color. He's a red, obviously, Red Rising. And he is digging in these mines on Mars. And he thinks that they're doing it to work and help to find a way to, you know, make this planet livable for people. And then things start to happen, of course, with government corruption and people cracking down on him, and you find out just how hard the lives are and the differences between these colors or these castes. So it was really an intriguing beginning to it, because what you think is the story in the beginning is really not the story. There's so much more to it. In every single book, we add more layers. The world building in this is just incredible. All of the different characters you're following, you fall in love with them, honestly. You really do. So I just absolutely adore these books. So the next two books that I ended up reading were in the Ash Princess series, so Ash Princess and Lady Smoke, book number 2. Now, if you guys know, I've had these on my shelves forever. Well, I've had Ash Princess on my shelf forever. Okay, so this book is about this princess who is living in a conquered kingdom, her conquered kingdom. But the king who took over, he is basically keeping her captive, and he is using her and punishing her for everything that her former people are trying to rise and overthrow him. And she lives under his rule for 10 years. And she is beaten severely. She is abused in every which way. But she never loses hope that she might be rescued, you know, or that somebody would come and assassinate this king, because he is truly, truly evil. So you're seeing her struggles, and oh man, I really like this. I think I'm not really 100% in love with the characters. I think it's definitely more of a plot-driven story for me, and I do like the plot of it. I'm just not in love with the characters, although I really do enjoy reading these books. The only thing I did find was that the main character, Thora, or Theodosia, as her real name is Theodosia, the only thing I thought about that really is that her transformation from this beaten, meek little girl to I'm a badass and I never lost my hope kind of is startling and not really very believable. It just, like that, it happens. And I don't know whether the author was trying to portray that her meek act was indeed an act, but I don't think that it came off very well. But if you kind of set that aside, I think the rest of the book, and so far the rest of the series, is really good. I'm actually reading the third book, Ember Queen, right now, and I'm about halfway through, and it's pretty enjoyable. So I really like it. So the next book and the final book in the first half of my wrap-up for October is How Fires End by Marco Rafala. And if you guys remember, I was kind of on the fence about this one too. It is a historical fiction, and it is about this man and his son who are living in America, but the dad was from Italy, and he was there during World War II. His 2 twin brothers were killed by this bomb exploding, and that's really all you know when you go into the beginning of it. And it's basically about their life in America, and I really didn't understand where this book was going until about halfway through. So it's really one of those books you kind of have to stick with it. And the author said that it was based on stories that his dad used to tell him, and that his dad's cousins, I guess, really were blown up by an unexploded mortar shell. So I found that interesting. I think he changed the name of places. He changed just a few little facts to make it, more interesting and more story worthy. But yeah, overall I thought it was a pretty decent book. So it was definitely worth a read. So that is all I have for you so far in my wrap up. I'm kind of trying to take the month of October really easy. I told you guys I started a new job and I've been really, really exhausted after I get home, so I'm not reading quite as much. I am listening to a lot of audiobooks though, because it's a long drive. But yeah, I'm trying to take this reading month really easy because I've already way surpassed my Goodreads goal for the year. I think I'm at like 142 books and my goal for the whole year was 104. So yeah, I think I'm good. I think I'm really good on that. So anyway, that is all I have for you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching my video. I upload every Wednesday and Saturday, and I would really love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe my videos. Have a great day.